Hello to all you wonderful people to the 94th edition of Weird Mind Newsroom, where this week in a more sort of toned down approach we're going to talk about some of the new releases for this week, a trailer or two from the week of news and entertainment, and of course a few news stories in that regard. So without too much wasting too much time, let's head into the information superhighway and talk about all things media from this week. On the first of the new releases for the week is one of the high anticipated films of this year, getting a release after a couple of delays, and seeing that no matter the occupation, the task or the outcome that you may find yourself in, it often may come along to feel like a bore or end up getting you killed. And this is how our main character finds himself dying over and over again for the purpose of mankind, as Oscar-winning director Bong Joon-ho finally brought his new sci-fi film to the big screen with the release of Mickey 17. The film follows the titular character of Mickey Barnes, a man who signs himself up to be an expendable on a man-made expedition to the planet Niflheim to make it a chance to find a way to colonize it. He soon gets himself over his head as his job sees him dying to test and experiment for dangerous issues for this new planet, and when one dies, a new clone form of Mickey is produced with all of his emotions and memories intact. But soon things take a lot messy when one of the clones that was presumed dead survives and has to deal with the politics of this expedition and with the new printed clone as well. Reception on this new film has been very well received, with praise across concept, the adapting of the source material of the original book, and of performances, especially to lead Robert Pattinson, who brings a lot of weird and wonder to his multiple performances. If you're up for a sci-fi adventure that may be worth seeing more than once, you can catch this new film out now in cinemas. We go from the big screen to the streaming world now, as we're not going to the far reaches of space for this one, but instead we're diving deep into the vast oceans and taking a visit to a town that's home to a very happy sponge. But instead of focusing on him, we are turning to the smaller one-eyed menace with an all-new scheme for world domination, with mixed results, as we have a new film focused on a spin-off character with Plankton the movie. The film is a mix of stories from origins to multiple tales, with the main focus of the narrative being the tangled love story with the sentient computer wife of Karen goes sideways, and that soon sees her take a stand and decide to take over and destroy the world without him. And we'll soon see Plankton teaming up with Spongebob and some other members of Bikini Bottom to stop this domination and fix their marriage in the process. Reception for this film so far from the time the film leaked months ago and now has been pretty well received, with praise of the visuals, its story, performances, and humor, and is a vast improvement over the last one from what I heard. It's not the only Spongebob film, of course, that's out this year, but we can talk on that one later when it does come out. But if you want to check this new Undersea adventure, you can catch this new film out now on Netflix. The second last film for the week is one that is more a film that appeals in the area of being a film to appeal to the working class. The one that can feel relatable in a way and coming from the comedy realms of the British scene, as we have the new film of Marching Power. The film follows a simple British geezer who will battle to make a promise to save his marriage and avoid jail after being ordered by a court to put his days of brawling and drug misuse behind him. Reception on this film has seen a bit of a mixed reception, and while the concept and idea work, performances feel relatable, it does feel close to the usual fare, and story has been seen done before so many times. But if you want something to check out for a possible funny film, you can catch this new film as well out now in cinemas. And our last film for the week is show that even when life is crazy and the outcome may seem mad, as long as you have someone by your side, then it can all work out. As we have a leading lady-centric film for this week with the new comedy film of One of Them Days. The plot follows two best friends, as played by Keke Palmer and SZA, who must find a way to scramble together to rent money after one of their boyfriends blow through it all and must avoid eviction and keep their friendship intact in the process. The reception of this new film has garnered very strong praise for its performances, its comedy, and also its relatability and its narrative, and if you're up for a bit of a laugh, you can catch this new film out now in cinemas too. For the single TV show for the week is one that's been long anticipated, one that brings us to the world of the MCU once again, and the return of the deep criminal underworld. As we have the original series wrapped up about 5 years ago, The Man Without Fear has finally returned with a continuing story, as we finally have the release of the new series of Daredevil Born Again. The series will follow on from the stories established from the original series and from the likes of Echo and other shows like She-Hulk, that will see attorney Matt Murdock finding himself on a collision course with the kingpin of Wilson Fisk when their past agendas begin to start emerging once again. Reception for this new series so far, like the previous 3 seasons of the show, has been very well received, with praise for the kept tone of the original series, the much darker feel, the return of performances, specifically of Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, and for the action and narrative that is setting out for the future of the MCU. If you're up for returning to Hell's Kitchen, you can catch the first 2 episodes now on Disney Plus, with a new episode releasing every Tuesday night, early Wednesday mornings. And as for video games for this week, the first of 2 is a focus of going big, fast, and action-packed, as we have a another new entry in the ever-growing array of the looter shooters or the 5v5 realm, as things can go the way of the cards with this all-new game of Fragpunk. The game will see you play one of the many selection options of characters in a 5v5 hero shooter that will see you hone your skills with the focus of using shard cards, allowing you to break the rules of combat and ensure that no two rounds will ever be the same. Reception on this title has been a little mixed, with praise of the gameplay and execution, though some technical hiccups in the gacha system with earning in-game rewards and currency can be a bit of a nuisance and can drag a bit, but may amend itself over time with some updates and concepts. And if you're up for a new hero shooter to get a break from the Marvel hero shooter, you can play this new title now on PC, with console versions initially planned for release this week as well, but will release now some point later this year. And the last of the releases for this week is seeing us tapping into the realm of fantasy and sci-fi colliding together, and seeing that the adventure is not going to be a one-person job, and will see you need a co-op companion to save the day. As the studio behind the award-winning games of A Way Out and It Takes Two brings us the most ambitious of titles, as we have the all-new game of Split Fiction. The game will follow authors Mio Hudson and Zoe Foster, writers of stories with one on fantasy and one on sci-fi, who find themselves trapped in the world of their stories with a device called The Machine, for a massive company that uses them to steal creative ideas, and they must work together to get through the worlds and save the day and escape with their lives changed as well. Reception to this new game has seen some great universal acclaim, with praise to its concept, blending of genres, the main characters of controls, and so much more, and maybe another hit for the studio, and even one of the best games of the year from reception wise. If you're up for an all-new adventure of storytelling, you can play this new game now on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. But with all that, that's all the new releases that we have for this week. Okay, so initially we were going to have a second week with no trailers, but thankfully one did come in at the very end as I was writing this episode. The trailers were a focus of another highly anticipated series, an adaptation of a popular title. The first season was a critical and awards darling, about to see that when lost in the darkness to always look for light, and a bit of a time jump to see shift in tone and violence, as we've gotten the final trailer for the second season of The Last of Us. This new season will of course cover a portion of the highly praised but also highly debated and controversial second game in the series that will see Joel and Ellie continue on a journey to survive in this post-apocalyptic America. But in the case where the first season and game were about the themes of love and hope, this new season will follow the reverse theme of hate. So it was a case of feeling that no matter what they showed for this adaptation, I was always excited for it, and it's still a presence in this form that I'm still overly excited to check this one out. And it's a case I do love the game. My controversial opinion, I actually really loved it. It was an excellent narrative, and I know people kind of debate about it, and some bits were kind of all over the place, but honestly, I still think it was an excellent narrative in that regards. I'm already excited for it, and still the presence of the form. I'm all prepped to endure all the pain and sadness and all the different emotions again for the series, and I for one think so far it looks amazing and exciting, and intrigued to see people's response to this series for those that have no idea about this game's story. But thankfully, we don't have to wait too long as well, as the new season will start streaming and releasing on Sky Atlantic, Now TV, and HBO Max from April 13th to April 14th. And that's all the trailers that we have for this week.
The one that goes beep boop bop boo boo beep.
Now, starting off news for the week is with a focus of a little update to a recent event and video, and that is with the discussion of the recent Academy Awards, or the Oscars. And I will say that one thing I can appreciate was this year was a lot of well-made and entertaining elements to it all. I was not bogged down by messy outcomes, with a really well done ceremony, good comedy, respect to the films and people involved, and I will say Conan O'Brien did a really great job as well too. Though we did have two slight dramas of the whole event, but we can discuss on them in a moment, but let's give a quick summary of some of the big winners for the night. So this year was not a massive one-sided win for one film, as a fair few movies all got some award recognition, with the big winner of the night going to the film of Anora, winning 5 of its 6 nominations, which included Best Picture, Best Actor for Mikey Madison, Best Director for Sean Baker, and Best Original Screenplay and Editing. The only one it didn't win for was Supporting Actor, but it was a case that was a surefire win for Kieran Culkin anyway. As for the top 3 total films, The Brutalist came in second with 3 of its 10 nomination wins for Best Score, Cinematography, and Actor for Adrian Brody, and his acceptance speech now holds a world record for the longest Oscar speech at nearly about 7 minutes or longer, I think, or something, I don't know. Then rounding out third was a three-way tie with Wicked, Emilia Perez, and Dune Part 2 all winning 2 awards each. While some films felt they have won a few more over others, I think that from the variety of wins for each category was a tough contest, and overall a well-established choice of winners. And as for the case of my own predictions, while I got less than last year accurate, where I was only 1 wrong last time, I was still near accurate with about 20 of the 23 nominees being correct. The wrong choices mainly going, I think, to the documentary and short film section, but there was a difficult one to decipher anyway because a lot of them were really strong, but I'm sure there's always next year to get the accuracy right, but we'll see down the line. Now, this is the only bit of discussion is bring about two of the issues. First was the whole James Bond musical tribute that, while I always think it was a nice thing to honor the producers of the film, who are now no longer producers on the series, which, side note, the reason why they're not is because apparently Jeff Bezos was a little bit pissy or petty that some of his Bond spin-offs ideas were rejected by them, and he had a grudge against Barbara Broccoli. The choice of performers and not having much else to add to it was a bit of a weird choice, as many thought it was building to another new Bond announcement, like who's going to take on 007 or Bond 26 being announced, but it was all for really nothing. But I'm sure we'll get something about the franchise quite soon enough, case with Amazon in another instance. The only one came from the reaction to the best doc film winner of No Other Lands, that was about a group of Palestinians and Israelis coming together in a wide number of symbolism of resistance and peace when the country's in a devastating conflict. It was another drama, as it was seen by a wide number of audiences not standing up or even applauding when showed the case that some either not getting the idea of what the film was about or showing their opinion on the conflict, and it seems really questionable about the whole ordeal going on. Since I'm not one that wants to really talk too much on drama or current day politics, I'll leave it at that. Now, it wasn't the only shake-up from it as well, as saw the original presenter for this award being with Gal Gadot, but essentially changed the last minute due to Gadot's opinion on the conflict and her past as well, but as I mentioned, it's not worth too much on that drama. I'm not going into it. All I know is that I feel the film sends a good message and needs to be seen that some that may not fully understand and hopefully can find hope along the way. But besides the two discussions there, I think overall the award show was a lot more appealing and success in the outcome, and hopefully will improve with every year. And I'd like to see Conan come back as a host. I'd definitely see it. But overall, I'd like to know your opinions on this year's Oscars, and do you think that the awards were done well, and what should have won in your opinion? And is there any other moment that was not the most over appealing in this show's in particular? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. We can discuss about it there. The next story for this week is with a focus of some discussion about some issues that have popped up in the era of one studio, and that is with the giant house of mouse itself of Disney. Now, it has been a while since we've given a little focus on this studio, but for this week it's in the sense of some not so great news or some confusing elements, but there is one part of it that does sound hopeful, but we'll delve into that and my quick thoughts now. So first of these pieces that was announced this week, and one that seems to have hope, was, and it's also highly anticipated, that was the announcement of a follow-up series to the 2009 or 2010 film of The Princess and the Frog, and many were excited for it, but it seems that those dreams are about to be dashed, as it was announced that the series has been shelved with no reason as the decision as to why, for a few hours that was in particular. The whole shelving is a real shame. I was looking forward to some new 2D animated content from Disney, as it's been nearly over a decade since the last 2D animated film, and hoping for more of this stuff likely would appeal to me a whole lot more. How much of the coincidence that the animated series focused on the first Black Disney princess was the one to be shelved or cancelled before release? Seems like there's a bit of agenda or something here, I don't know. With the only remnants left is now worked into a special for the series, but I feel the best approach is to be something like they fully seem to rework it to a film like they did with Moana last year. But I guess we'll not know for the time being, but I do hope that maybe a slim chance we can see this release in the future, but who knows at this point. Now, the second part relates to the shelving of the first one, and that's to do with the focus of the discussion about a decision being made from the studio, as he announced at the same time of the Tiana series being shelved. The Disney animated department is no longer planning to release long-form entertainment on their streaming service, Disney Plus, which would be long-form episode series like the aforementioned Tiana series or the currently airing Pixar series of Win or Lose, and focus more on their theatrical releases or films for the service. There is an unknown exception which may be fine, with shows that are just short 10-minute episodes like the Olaf Explained shorts or Zootopia Plus as examples. Now, I do see this as being a dumb idea approach of this, as it's a case that if Disney want to control the entire market from the big to the small screen, then having the idea of longer format episode content makes a whole lot more sense than just dropping altogether, because I see if they don't want to do that, then what's the point of really owning a streaming service if they won't make episodic content and just rely on their subsidiaries to make their own content for them? Hopefully there will be a bit of a case that they do return to this form or retract this approach, because it just seems like a dumb concept, but I guess we'll have to see in due time if they do or not. But we'll see. However, it's a case, it's not all bad news for the studio, as we do have the announcement of a new project from a character that has been around for over a century now, and even here before the studio's iconic mouse himself, as it was announced that this week that Mandalorian creator and Iron Man director Jon Favreau is making a new live-action animated hybrid series based on the character of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Now, this one does really appeal to me, as it's been a long time since Oswald headlined a main series or project of his own. His last appearance was back in the 60s in some comic book stylings before the name of the character had negative negative connotations due to a certain day in 1963. But his last appearance in any cartoon was much earlier than in the 50s with a cameo in a Woody Woodpecker cartoon. After being dormant for about 50 years, he was brought back up when a game was pitched to Bob Iger, who then got the rights to the character in 2006 from Universal, and then he would make his grand return 4 years later in the 2010 title of Epic Mickey, and has since appeared in cameos in some other shorts and at the theme parks, as well as being a playable character in the co-op form in the Epic Mickey sequel. So the likes of giving Oswald a proper focused project of his own seems like a no-brainer, and I for one look forward to see this come to fruition in due time, and hopefully will bring more attention and love to the original Disney character. But with all that, I'd like to know your own opinions about this Disney news, and do you think their decisions are a good or bad thing, and if you are excited for a series based on the Lucky Rabbit. Let me know what you think down below. Let's discuss there. The third story for this week is of course the usual affair of some casting news, with all this being projects I've mentioned in recent weeks, with a combination of the cast regarding massive ensemble, a confirmed and possible rumored casting for a series I see as unnecessary, and a rumored one that is a weird choice but it's not finalized yet. But let's talk on those castings and give my thoughts on them. So the first of these cast discussions is once again bringing us over to talk about the ever-growing cast of Christopher Nolan's new epic of The Odyssey, as you have a new cast member joining from another acclaimed historical epic, as Shogun star Cosmo Jarvis has joined the cast for this film to be starring alongside the likes of Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Charlize Theron, Pattinson, and many more. And I think that another top choice in the film that gets more and more great and interesting new cast members becoming part of something great as well, that has already started filming in Morocco. Now again, like most of the cast, we do not have the idea as to who he will be playing in the film, and if he is one of the gods from the tales or one of the advisors or soldiers, but I guess as the film continues production and gets closer to release, we'll get an idea as to who everyone in the cast will be portraying, as well as seeing if there's any more additions to the film of this ever-growing roster, but I guess we'll still see in due time as production starts continuing during this year. Then from Nolan's Odyssey to the new take on HBO's adaptation of the still opinionated unnecessary Harry Potter TV series, has been a bit of an update to a possible confirmation that has brought a bit of controversy or opinionated controversy for one casting, and the other is one that has come up as a rumored finalized version. Now the first was that after being rumored a couple of weeks ago, it was seemingly confirmed this week that Papa Izadu has been cast as Snape for the series, and this is the one that has brought a fair amount of concern, as the case they cast as someone that in the books is labeled as being unappealing and ugly, when this man clearly is quite handsome. There would be a lot of focus on race issues, that the likes of the character would have when he was a student at Hogwarts and was bullied by James Potter in the 70s, which sounds a bit awkward, and then which whenever the series will be set in time as well. And in the case of the character of Snape is essentially a member of the equivalency of wizard Nazis. So unless it's majorly changed or given a lot of prosthetics, it still will have some form of drama to these projects, but it's a case to still give a chance for now, but it's unknown to be an outcome for the moment. And as for the other casting, while not fully finalized, it seems to be reported that they are eyeing Ozark actress Jeanette McTeer as the headmistress of Professor McGonagall, previously played by the late Maggie Smith, and I think this one is not a bad choice, as I've heard a lot of good from her performance from that show, so I can give that one a chance, as I will for the others. Again, as I always say with this series, wondering is it really necessary, but it's probably just one or one more money, but I guess we can see if this will work out by the time the show comes out, presumably I think next year, but we'll see. And the last of the discussions for this week in the likes of casting news is taking us to another adaptation, and this is with the focus of the planned Narnia adaptations from Barbie and Lady Bird director Greta Gerwig. As while we've not heard much on who is being cast as them yet, besides a rumored one of Saoirse Ronan a couple of weeks ago, there is another name that has appeared to have been approached to appear in this, and that is with the British musician of Charlie XCX. Now it's unclear as to who she will play if cast, but one rumored the role that has been pushed in conversation the last few days was her portraying the Ice Queen that was previously played by Tilda Swinton in the Disney adaptations. Now while it's an odd choice, it could work out, but it's hard to tell right now as to how this will all come about in due time, but I'm sure we will learn about all the castings in due time for this project before it releases some point next Christmas. But what are your thoughts on these casting confirmations and rumored ones, and who are you most excited for, and who would you cast in these projects if you had the chance to do so? Let me know your opinions and choices down below. And the case the last of stories for this week is with a focus of the narrative of getting some release date announcements, and this is not going to be overly long, and both have their fans and excitement for them, but let's delve into talking exactly what those films are. So the first of these release dates have given us the go ahead for the time and place to book a slot to hit the fairways, as earlier this week Netflix announced the release date for the upcoming sequel to Happy Gilmore, which has now been confirmed for release on the 25th of July this year, which will have its releasing on the same weekend as Marvel's First Family, and I hope that there's a case that we will see this project get a bit of a theatrical release like some of the other films that could have appealed for the big screen, like Beverly Hills Cop Axel F or the two Knives Out films that should have or should get one, but I'm sure we may hear more word about this down the line. When we get a proper trailer for this film at some point soon, we can return back to our happy place as well, but we shall see. And for the second release date confirmation was the announcement of a project from about a month ago that was in the works that we have got given a release date for now, with this new film adaptation of the Resident Evil series from the Barbarian and Companion director. With this confirmation now, the film is releasing on September 18th, 2026. Now at the moment it's unclear if the film will be a new take on one of the original game's stories, a new film with the familiar characters, or an entirely new story and characters similar to this series of films starring Mila Djokovic, but I'm sure we will learn more about this project over the next year as casting and production gets underway, and I feel that with good faith and focus we will see it come about and may even be the best take adaptation of a series in film form, but I guess we'll see in due time for that in that regards. What do you think of these two new release day announcements, and are you excited for either of these two upcoming projects in particular? Do let me know what you think down below, and with all of that, that's all the news that we have for this week.
Money in the bag, please. I'm Dragon.
And with all of that now, that ends episode 94 of Weird Mind Newsroom, and I hope you enjoyed this kind of another rambly episode. I'm going to try and keep this brief in the regards just the conclusion, but let's kind of run down what I expect to see coming out. So we start in reviews wise. I'm going to hopefully start writing up the Last of Us Part 1 review some point the next week or two, just trying to have that out by around the time Part 2 comes out, which is in like a month's time, so give me plenty of time to that case. I will get around to some of the awards season films as well, in particular to try and write some of them. Just want to find the mood and energy to do so. I've just been not really in a focus to it, but I'm going to get to them at some point, so don't worry. And then a case of some other non-award season films as well, and variations in long and short form content, so look forward to them in due time on this channel. Gameplay wise, I didn't really get much time to really play anything this week. I had plans to, and then just things happened, but I'm still trying to figure out what to play on PS5. I did mention I was going to do a list last week, but I'll do it for this week maybe or something. I don't know. I'll see what I might get in the next couple of days, because I'm turning something funnier than 24. But in the case instance, well, I might do like Cyberpunk and Mario Odyssey. It's Mario Wonder at some point, in case maybe at some point the next day or two, or maybe later tonight, and some other bits and pieces. So I probably will record those in due time. It's just going to case of just figuring out what I'm in the mood for playing and if I have the motivation to. So bear with me in that case. And in case of long forms, you might have seen a case as well, as I mentioned, the Oscar nominations. You can check out my predictions and see how accurate I was with a few of them and a few I was off of. I'm hoping to do maybe Horror Most Bored by the end of next month, do like as a Halloween thing, because the case has been 6 months since Halloween and be 6 months to the next Halloween, so kind of even it out. I have two of the movies. I bought two of them. Yes, I know I paid money. The only one I need to find online is the worst reviewed one of last year, but we can get to that down the line. The AI video is going to come along. Someone important to me actually did make a special little AI one for me, but I don't know if I'm going to use it for that one. I'm going to keep that to myself, but I might just delve into it and see how it turns out. And in case then the other one is Rewatchathon. That one is going to come eventually. I just want to find the energy to watch the films, but I'm getting to it, so bear with me. I just apologize in that case. But I think I'll leave it there for now. So if you enjoyed my content, want to see more from me, then simply like and subscribe. As I upload new stuff every single week, and maybe the end of this month we'll try and aim for 300 subs, but I'm not pushing too much on anything in that regards. If you enjoy my content, hope you check out my stuff and, you know, find something entertaining. And if you have something you want to share or show off, like in a special segment or anything like that, do let me know down below. I will honestly share some stuff or even promote some stuff maybe down the line. Just kind of do some things. I might do a 100 and 200 sub video special, 150 sub special kind of thing down the line. I just got to figure something out if I'm in the mood for it. But as well, case, let me know your thoughts on everything that was discussed this week as well. Like if you've seen any new releases, your thoughts about the trailer from this week, as well as some of the news stories in particular. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. But anyways, I think I'll leave it there for now. So as always, you all stay being wonderful people and have a great day every day, doing many great things and keep being you, because no one else would do what you do. I've been your host, Sam, and I shall see you all in the next episode. So take care. I'll see you later.